Hi, welcome. Let's talk about books. I have been reading a lot this month. February is a shorter month, but still I am amazed by the amount of books that I have been able to get through. Let me just follow the order in which I read them. So the first one I finished for the third time was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde in this amazing uncensored annotated edition. This was edited by Nicholas Frankel. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts about this book, I kindly invite you to watch my video, which I will link here. Just an amazing experience. I cannot recommend it enough. The second book I read was Sparta by Andrew Baylis. This was a gift from a very good friend of mine. He gave me this beautiful edition and I had high expectations. And unfortunately, I didn't really enjoy this one that much, mainly because of the writing. The way it was written wasn't very engaging to me. I just found that I didn't care. This is a non-fiction book about Sparta, Greece's ancient, most iconic city, and unfortunately it didn't work out for me. I also read How to Be a Tutor by Ruth Goodman. Last year I read How to Be a Victorian by her. It was such a great read. This was less my thing. I think mainly because there are a lot of similarities between the Victorian life and the Tudor life. There were so many things that I already knew. And the Tudor period interests me less than the Victorian period, so that could have been it. But otherwise, it was very engaging. It was so beautifully written. But I do recommend it if you enjoy reading and learning about the Tudor period, because Ruth Goodman writes in such an engaging and interesting way. So yes, this is How to Be a Tutor. Then I finished a very big one. This was The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I invite you kindly to watch my other video about the end of my Dostoevsky journey, where I talk about why Dostoevsky just isn't my author. I didn't really enjoy The Brothers Karamazov. This was my fourth work by Dostoevsky, and yes, I'm going to take a very long break. Now that I'm seeing all these books together, it wasn't really such an excellent month, which is okay, but yes, I don't think I found any new favorites aside from one book that I'm going to show you in a minute. This book is a murder mystery. The murder happens about halfway in the book. There is also a lot of theological discussions, and yes, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And as usual, all the characters were absolutely insane. Next, I have read Faust Part 2, finally, because last year we read Faust 1 with the book club. We had an interesting discussion about it, and I still had to get myself to read Part 2. It is very different from Part 1, and I actually don't really know what I read. I'm not gonna lie, this felt like reading a fever dream. It felt like Goethe was high on opium or something, because I don't know, there are like a million characters in this part 2. Let me just read to you the opening of part 5 to give you an idea of what I mean. A wanderer. There they are, so dark and strong, those old lindens as before. I have wandered for so long, now I find them here once more. And the hut that sheltered me, tempest-tossed as I was then, on the sand dunes here I see, this is the same place again. And my hosts, that fine old couple rescued me with ready will. They were pious, gentle people. Can I hope to find them still? They were old at our first meeting. Shall I knock or call? My greeting to you, if the gods still bless you with your life of kindliness. Baucis, a very old woman. Stranger dear, speak softly, please. Softly! My old husband, he's resting still. He needs the length of his nights for short days' strength. The wanderer. Dear old woman, it is true. Can I still be thanking you for my young life, you and he long ago saved from the sea? Baucis, you who, when death coldly kissed me, warmed my freezing blood. The husband enters. You, Philemon, who so boldly snatched my treasure from the flood. Yours the hospital fire, yours the bell with silver tone. You, my rescuers from dire peril, you, my help alone. Now, to ease my heart's emotion, I must look upon this shore. I must kneel and pray once more, gazing on the boundless ocean. So what I mainly experienced in part two is that as I was reading, in the moment, it kind of made sense. But when I see it as a whole, it just gets lost on me. There just sometimes are these books where I feel like I need a teacher to guide me through, and this is one of them. And I cannot say I did not enjoy it because it was enjoyable enough. But yes, again, it felt like a fever dream, and the point completely gets lost on me. And then my favorite book that I've read this month, what a great discovery this was. So I got lost into research about Émilie du Châtelet. She was the lover of Voltaire for a very long time. And as I was looking into her, I got so inspired, and I tried reading everything that I was able to find about her. And so I was looking for biographies, and at my local library, I was lucky enough to find this biography. This copy is in Dutch, but the original title is Passionate Minds, and in Dutch it's called Émilie and Voltaire. This is about both of them, which I absolutely love, but there's a lot of attention going to Émilie. And this book consumed me. It is so good. I highly recommend it if you're interested in a time period, because there was a lot of information about the time in which Voltaire lived, and you just get a history of both of these interesting people, and it is written in such an engaging way. So yes, this is Passionate Minds by David Bodanis. And then finally, I have read the ebook version of Hemingway's A Movable Feast. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. It was a very short work, so I didn't really mind getting through it. I never succeeded in reading a full work by Hemingway because he and I don't click. His writing style doesn't click with me, as most 20th century authors don't click with me, unfortunately. There's something about their writing style that just doesn't work for me. But anyway, that was my first work, complete work by Hemingway that I read. I did try to read The Sun Also Rises and another one, but I gave up on both because just his writing style, right? But yes, I completed this one and it was okay. It was just okay. What I really liked was that there were a lot of references to authors from his time period and before. And I was very happy to notice how many of those I had already read, which made me feel kind of proud. It is a memoir about his struggles as a writer and journalist during the 1920s. Please let me know if you've discovered any favorite books this month, and I hope to see you next week.